All right, welcome to another IELTS speaking practice video. So today Miss Thư is here again, and she's going to do her practice today. So let's start with part one first. We have done a lot of part one actually, but I still need you to try something. Let's try 72 now about languages. So Miss Thư, what languages can you speak? Or how many languages do you speak? Can you speak?
I can only speak two languages, which are Vietnamese, my mother tongue, and English, my major. And
Vietnamese
I think in the future
languages.
I may want to extend my knowledge about languages. Maybe I'll try learn another language like French or Chinese.
I think Chinese is a right one because basically now a lot of people need to learn it, and I'm learning it too. It is not very useful if you learn French or other languages right now compared to learning Chinese, I think. So talking about usefulness, I think it's a better choice, I think. So what foreign languages have you studied before? I mean, like you have studied that, but you have not been able to speak. It's different. Like for example, a lot of people have already studied like some Korean through Duolingo or Japanese, through apps, something like that. But so far, they have not been able to speak. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So, what foreign languages have you studied?
Well, I have studied English, that's a certain thing. And also, I have tried to study Korean on some kind of apps, language apps. I just learned about the basic knowledge, and um, sometimes I do not have time to brush up on my Korean language, but I really hope that I can make time for learning that language in the future.
I see. Now, so why did you choose to study that language then?
Well, I think the first reason is that I have a big interest in learning languages generally, and this language, English, is I think nowadays it's really important. It's a universal language, and I think studying this can help me a lot in my future career and help me to communicate with a wider range of people. So
Hmm,
that's why I choose to study English.
I see. Right. So, would you say it's a difficult language to learn?
Well, I wouldn't say it is difficult for me. Well, uh, at the beginning, it was a bit complicated, and it took me a while to actually learn how to learn vocabularies and the grammars and the pronunciation. But gradually, until now, I think English is like my second language. I can learn it not as I can learn it pretty easily right now.
I see. So, do your friends also like to learn languages?
Well, not really. Some of my friends do like to learn languages. They like to learn about the vocabularies, or they just want to speak that language, so they will learn it. But however, there are some of my friends who consider learning languages really difficult and time consuming. So they do not really like to learn languages. Instead, they choose to learn something else.
Mm, I see. So, what languages would you like to learn in the future?
Maybe I think I would like to learn Chinese because, as a matter of fact, I think China has a really large population, and the number of people who speak Chinese is extremely big, large, and that's why I want to learn this language. It helps me to communicate with other friends, with foreign friends better, and also it can be really useful to find a job because my country and China is are actually pretty near each other. So I think it's really useful.
I see. Okay, so how are languages taught and learned in your school? Like, for example, do you learn a lot of grammar? Do you learn a lot of vocabulary? Do you learn a lot of like theory, or you learn a lot of practice? Or do you get to meet people in like speaking clubs to learn something like that? How are languages taught and learned in your school? And how about exams too, you know?
In my school, languages are taught just mostly in textbooks. We learn a lot about grammar, the grammar and the vocabularies. But I think about the speaking part, we do not really have many chances speak to speak languages. We just merely learn with grammar and vocabularies.
Vocabulary.
Vocabularies.
Hmm.
And we do also have English exams in my school as compulsory, so everybody has to take it.
I see. Now, so okay, that's 72. Very good. Now, so let's talk about friends, shall we? So are friends important to you?
Definitely, I think my friends are really important to me. They play a significant part in cheering me up when I'm sad, and I can always confide in them when I have some problems in my life. So, yeah, to me, friends are really, really important.
Hmm, I see. So what do you do? What do you and your friends do together?
Well, and my friends, we do a lot of activities together. But mostly, I think we will spend time doing homework together because it not only helps us to improve our studying, but also gives us a common subject to talk about. Besides that, we also spend time going to the coffee shop or going for a walk and have a chat together.
I see. So, do you have many friends? And are there any of them close to you, or you just know them, you know? It's different between close friends and acquaintances. You know those people, right? You just know them, but you are not very close. It's called acquaintance. Acquaintance. Người quen thôi. Acquaintance. Do you have many friends?
No, not exactly. I think I do not have many friends. I only have like three best friends, both in my class and also outside the class. And the other ones, I just know them. They are just my acquaintances. I just know them. I don't really talk to them too much.
I see. So do you prefer having one friend or many friends?
Well, I think, in my opinion, I think that maybe having one friend, but that person is really trustworthy and you can confide in them is much better than having too many friends. Because I think that the quality is much better than the quantity. And also, when you have one friend, uh, you can really talk about the really important matters of your life and not afraid of being spread out. Like if you have many friends and you have to tell all your friends about your problems, and maybe some of them are not really trustworthy.
Trustworthy?
Yeah.
So those are bad friends. They are not real friends, just fake ones who pretend like they're close to you, but they will use you, you know, how they are. Now, so what kind of people do you like to have as friends? So you should talk about like a characteristic of them. Like, for example, how they act, how they believe, well, what they believe in, their personality. And some people they want to have friends who are smart, who do good things for the other people, or there's a lot of different factors, you know. Some people they like rich friends, or some people they like friends who are not so rich, something like that. Okay, so what kind of people do you like to have as friends?
Well, I think there are two main factors that I want my friends to have. I think I really want to be friends with people who are funny, who are humorous, because sometimes when I feel sad or disappointed about something, their jokes can really cheer up my mood, and I think that's really important of my friends. And also, when they make jokes, they have to be really like sensitive about not uh, not joking about something really unsuitable for the situation. So I really want to be friends with funny people.
I see. So, what kind of friends do you want to meet in the future? So this is one's like it's a kind of prediction, kind of, and like you should talk about the quality of friends. Like what kind of friend you want to meet in future. For example, if you are about to go to university, would you like to have a kind of friends who are very creative, who hang out a lot, who are very outgoing, or something like that, or who can be helpful in finding jobs, or who will help you through, tough times, something like that. So, what kind of friend do you want to meet in the future?
Well, I think that in the future, I really want to meet friends who are helpful and they have the same interests, the same viewpoints with me. Because I think when we have when we have something in common, it will be really easy for us to discuss some matters of life. And also, they can really help me when I need some, they can be really helpful when I need something, when I find a job or when I have to do a task from the teacher.
I see. Now, so do your friends think that you are a good friend? This is not just what they say to you, but it has to be something that you experience after you have been friends with them for some times. Of course, they will not tell you that you are not a good friend in front of your face. Face to face, they will not do that. But um, do you think that your friend think that you are a good friend?
To be honest, I really think that I am a good friend, and I
Mhm.
think that my friends do think like that. Although sometimes I do say or do act in an inappropriate way. My friends, they still show that they are really supportive, and they always encourage me to do whatever I really want. And also, uh, when my friends overcome something terrible, I always listen to them, and I always try my best to find a solution to help them overcome that um, terrible trauma situation that they have gone through. So I think in most cases, my friends will think that I'm a good friend.
Mm, I see. And that's great then. So, do you prefer to spend time with friends or alone?
To be honest, I think it depends on each day. Mm, for example, when I have a bad day, I think I will really want to spend my time alone because I need time to think about what have happened, or I need time to recharge my energy when I'm alone, and I can really do the things that I want, like watching a movie or just reading books on my own. However, there are many days when I am really happy and my mood is really good. I really want to spend time with my friends because sometimes when I hang out with my friends, I can also help my friends to cheer up when they feel bad. And I think that's a way for us to maintain our really good friendship.
Oh, I see. Now, do you like to spend time with friends? Or because you are an introvert, you know? So a lot of the time, I'm also an introvert. So I spend time with friends, but only quality time, you know? There's a term, it's called quality time. If you're an extrovert, of course, you spend a lot of time with other people, but are those time spent quality enough, you know? Are those time being spent of good quality, you know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cái thời gian mà mình dành cho mọi người ấy, dù có dành rất nhiều thời gian nhưng mà nó có đủ chất lượng không? So do you like to spend time with friends? And you can also talk about the activity you would like to do with them, you know? So it's worth it. It's worth the time that an introvert like you spend with them, you know? Do you like to spend time with them?
Absolutely. I think that I really like to spend time with my friends. But I think the time I spend with my friends should be worth it. It has to be really, the quality has to be good enough for me to not regret the time I spend with them. For example, when I spend time with my friends, we will do some activities that can cheer up my mood, that can help me to feel better after some uh, terrible situations that I have gone through. But also, I think there are many occasions when I really want to spend time alone,
Mm-hmm.
just for myself, to recharge my energy or just to think about everything in my life. So I think it depends.
Mm. So you think it depends. I see. Let's go on part two now. Is it not for part one? All right, so part two, I'll choose something that is quite far away. I think let's do 99. Topic number 99 from part two and three. Describe an important decision that you made, an important decision that you made. You should say what the decision was, how you made your decision, what the results of the decision were, and explain why it was important. It has to be an important decision, not like something mundane, like everyday, like mundane. Nè, nó không phải là cái gì đó mà nó mỗi ngày mà nó không quá quan trọng, nó cứ tầm tầm bậc chung, It has to be important. Like for example, choosing a school to study. That is important. Or to choose the major, choose the major to study, choose a school to study in, choose some expensive furniture. Sometimes choosing an expensive piece of furniture, it's also an important decision, like for example, to buy a good digital piano, which is so expensive, that's an important decision if you don't have a lot of money. It also depends on how you view it. Is it important for you or not, Nó tùy vào cái thứ gì gọi là quan trọng đối với mình đó. To choose a place to live in, like to choose an apartment to live in, to rent what kind of place, thuê nơi nào để ở, sống ở nơi nào cũng quan trọng. Of course, that's important too. All right. And then part 3, we have 6 questions like this. Do you think children sometimes have to make important decisions? Children here means like they are below 10 years, like around 10 years old and below that, Dưới 10 tuổi mới được gọi là trẻ con nha. Do you think children sometimes have to make important decisions? So think about the fact that sometimes you might think that children do not make important decisions, but they do. Sometimes they do that. Like, for example, they have to choose whether to stay in that class or not. If they don't like the class, they have to be able to tell the other people why they don't like the class. And so because of that, their parents have to bring them to another teacher or another different kind of classes, something like that. Or sometimes, can you think of some examples? Like, for example, most of the time we live in an Asian society and parents or people who are older, they make decisions for children. But to be honest, in a Western society, children have to make their own decision from a very, very young age, So they're very independent. And because of that, they have to make important decisions for themselves. Like, for example, around the age of say 10 or 9, they have to decide whether to attend a summer camp or not. To attend a summer camp or not, they have to tell their teacher, they have to tell their parents, and they have to discuss with them, there's about a summer camp. Or to go on a trip, or to go on a picnic. It might not sound important to you, but for the child's development, I think it's pretty important because it helps the child to be much more independent, to know how to make decisions and know how to take responsibility for everything that happens to them. Like, for example, when I was in grade 4, which is around 10 years old, yeah, around that, I attended a kind of summer camp in the outskirts of town, yes. Oh my God, it was a long time ago. Oh my God, it was almost like, oh my God, 25 years ago. Oh wow, it was that long. I can't believe it. And I'm still alive here, like a kind of fossil. Anyway, I crack jokes too much. Anyway, so think about that. Sometimes they have to make important decision about their own room, like how to decorate their own room, like what subjects they should prioritize, to prioritize something, ưu tiên cái gì đó. What subject they should prioritize when they study, in order to get the best results. Or sometimes they have to choose which subjects to study because they are some kind of optional, It's called optional subjects or extra curriculum subjects that they have to choose, know what I mean? And they have to be able to tell the parents which one they like and then discuss with the parents, something like that. So those are important decisions as well, Think about that. Or something mundane, like what kind of toy to buy, You think it's important? Because some toys are pretty expensive, A set of Lego, like for example, a set of Lego building blocks. Khối xây dựng Lego một bộ vậy đó. A set of Lego building blocks. It's actually very expensive now. If you check the price, you know what I mean. Bộ Lego giá bao nhiêu? Check it out. Check it out, the price. You will see what I mean. Lego. And of course, they are still expensive. Oh no, they asked me at 8 o'clock. Oh, I have to do this. 8 o'clock, 10:30. Oh no. And then, oh no, I make a wrong one, I think. Oops. Forget what I just say, okay? Basically, some toys are pretty expensive and they have to make the decision if they really wanted that or not, And of course, the parents will listen to the child, and of course, they will have to discuss about it. And sometimes talking about hobbies, some hobbies require investment, of course, like musical instrument, to buy a musical instrument. Think about that. Musical instruments are not cheap, especially the big one, like piano, for example. Of course, children will have to make important decision whether they really are really serious about it or not. Think about the fact that a lot of children these days, especially in the Western world, trên thế giới bên phương Tây đi, trẻ con được cho lựa chọn từ rất sớm luôn nha. Children are allowed to make decisions very, very early in their life, Now, number 2, what important decisions do teenagers need to make after graduations? Graduation here means, graduation here means like graduation from high school. Because look at teenagers, Những bạn tuổi teen mà. Có những lựa chọn quan trọng nào những bạn tuổi teen cần phải có sau khi tốt nghiệp cấp 3? What important decision do teenagers need to make after graduations? Like, think about what school to study in, which country to choose to study abroad in. They have to choose which country to study abroad, which country to study abroad at, or they have to choose like which major to pursue, theo đuổi cái ngành nghề nào, which major to pursue, what kind of jobs do they want in the future, something like that. And of course, in Western countries, okay, a lot of people who are more than 18 years old, they have to take loans. Okay? To take loans to cover the tuition fees of their university or college. And of course, these loans has to be repaid. These loans have to be repaid within like 20 or 30 years or something like that, And of course, they have to work so hard to repay that loan to the government. Mượn nợ chính phủ để mà trang trải tiền học phí là có thật nha, bên nước ngoài là vậy. I think Vietnamese people, they are just a lot of students, their family will help them, so they don't have to take loans to cover tuition fees. So they are really lucky. But because of that, of course, a lot of people are not dependent enough when they are more than 18 years old, you know. Think about that. They have to take loan to cover tuition fees because their parents may not be able to help them with their university fees, you know. Or they have to decide whether to take a gap year. It means like 1 year you don't do any study at all and you just work part-time, just work, and figure out what you really want to do to study, you know. It's called a gap year. Cho một cái năm mà không làm gì hết, không không học gì hết, chỉ đi làm thôi để mà quyết định được là mình thích cái gì sau khi lớp 12 xong. Well, actually, it's a very common choice. My cousin actually took a gap year, and now she just graduated from a university in America, I think. Not so sure if she got a job or not. Anyway, and of course, you have to take a decision by yourself. Of course, by the time of graduation, you should be about 17.5 or 18 years old already, you know? So it means you have to take full responsibility. You have to take full responsibility for your actions and of course for your decisions too. Và chịu trách nhiệm 18 tuổi là phải chịu trách nhiệm đầy đủ hết luôn á, cho tất cả các hành vi và quyết định của mình luôn nha. Okay, that's according to the law, you know, dựa vào luật pháp là như vậy. Okay, so think about those things I just said. Number 3, who can children turn to for help when making the decisions? Trẻ nhỏ có thể cậy nhờ vào ai để giúp đỡ khi mà quyết định? Well, you know the answers. Of course, parents. And also they can turn to their older brothers or sisters or older siblings. They can turn to their teachers, of course, to make decisions, or anybody who is older than them, you know. And you can also explain why they need to listen to those people. Sometimes, sometimes when making decisions, children can just go online and ask, you know. And sometimes a word of a stranger, or sometimes words of complete strangers may be very objective, you know, may be very objective, khách quan hơn. Những cái lời của những cái người mà hoàn toàn lạ mặt, người ta không biết gì mình hết, thì nó sẽ khách quan hơn nhiều nha. Words of complete strangers can sometimes be much more objective than words from someone who's close to you, you know. But also words from complete strangers might not be good for your case. Like, for example, people love to give advices, to give pieces of advice, right? Con người ta lúc nào cũng rất là ưa thích cái chuyện cái cho lời khuyên này khuyên kia, you know. People love to give pieces of advice. People really love to give pieces of advice, but a lot of the time, those advice may or may not apply to you. Rất nhiều trường hợp mấy cái lời khuyên nó đâu có ứng dụng được đúng với mình đâu. You know, think about that. Now, number 4, do you think advertisements, or if you say British way, advertisement, can influence your decisions when shopping? So think about advertisement online. Think about advertisement that you see on paper. Think about advertisement on apps. If they appear a lot, you know, it can make people remember those advertisements. And so, of course, when they decide to shop, those images will stick to their head, you know. Those images may stick to their heads. because it appears a lot, you know, you read that a lot, it will eventually come out. And when deciding something when shopping, people will start to choose to buy those items that they saw previously in the advertisement. So this is something called it's a kind of manipulation, yes. Nó là một cái loại thao túng á, thao túng hành vi mua sắm. It's a manipulation that people use when they want to manipulate the customers, the consumers when shopping, you know. And think about how advertisement can influence your decision when shopping. They use catchy music. They use catchy colors, catchy musics. And a lot of the time, they are very tenacious. What word was that? They're very tenacious. Nó lì lắm luôn á, nhiều quảng cáo nó lì kinh khủng. A lot of advertisement, they're very tenacious and they're very, very annoying, extremely annoying and irritating to the point that whenever you talk about that an object, their name immediately popped up. Like, do you know about insurance? When you talk about insurance, what names appear in your head? Is it Daiichi Light, right? Or Prudential or Manulife, right?
Yeah.
They do the same. I mean, they are basically they basically employ the same techniques, you know. Nó dùng một cái kỹ thuật y chang như vậy để mà giống như là làm phiền khách hàng hết mức có thể để cho cuối cùng người ta nhớ được cái sản phẩm đó, nó dính liền với cái tên đó chẳng hạn. Very, very annoying, very irritating. So of course it can influence your decisions when shopping because of that, you know. Not that I like it, but that's what happens. Number 5, do you think the influence of advertising is good? So now advertising, ngành quảng cáo, việc quảng cáo. Anh chị có nghĩ rằng ảnh hưởng của ngành quảng cáo hoặc việc quảng cáo là tốt không? Like good for whom? You have to think about, is it good for children, for adults, consumers, for the economy, for the government? Of course, the more people buy, the more the economy will grow, you know. But of course, the worse it will be for the environment because the more products, the more the trash, you know, and the worse environmental pollution will become. Ô nhiễm lắm luôn á. Càng sản xuất nhiều, càng nhiều rác, càng ô nhiễm. And also think about bank account balance. Like it means how much money is left in your bank, you know. Còn bank của bạn có nhiêu tiền, đó chính là cái bank account balance. Okay, think about that. Number 6, how do people usually make an important decision? Like before people make important decisions, would people ask for advice from people they trust? Like professionals, you know, những người chuyên nghiệp. Like for example, a lot of people they come to me when they make important decisions to buy a piano, for example, because they know that I play piano professionally. I mean, kind of professionally now. And whenever people want to ask about studying English or the languages, they will ask me as well because they know I'm a professional. Think about that. And also to make important decisions regarding the price. Regarding the price, people have to check and compare prices. Kiểm tra giá và so sánh giá giữa các website. To check and compare prices between places, you know. However, making important decisions here also mean making like important life decisions, like choosing a place to study, Like for example, choosing a school, they have to check the rating and comments of people about that school, you know. Phải check cái bình luận của con người ta về cái trường đó nha. Chứ đừng có chỉ check rating, rating có thể mua được nha. Actually, a lot of school they can buy the rating these days, so it is not very trustworthy anymore. But the comments, especially very negative comments, you know, are very. I do believe that very negative comments can be much more useful than positive ones, you know. Mấy cái bình luận thật là rất là tiêu cực, thực sự mà nói á, là nó chính xác hơn nhiều so với những bình luận tích cực luôn á. But it can also because of unfair competition as well. Nó có thể là do về cái sự cạnh tranh không lành mạnh á. You know what I mean? Competitors often they do this. They give negative comments on their other companies, you know. That's a form of unfair competitions. Giống như là những đối thủ cạnh tranh thường cho những bình luận tiêu cực về những đối thủ khác chẳng hạn. Một cách mà là cạnh tranh không lành mạnh. It's an unfair competition. And also think about making important decisions with what to study for their future. Of course, you have to ask around. You have to look at statistics, you know, nhìn vào những cái thống kê, and ask around the people who actually doing those kind of jobs, you know. Like for example, if your child wanted to become an engineer in, let's say, electrical engineer, then you need to bring them to the places where those electrical engineer people are working, and ask for the good and the bad sides of their jobs to so that the child can have some more ideas, you know. It's called a well-informed choice, một cái sự lựa chọn mà được thông tin tốt á. Một sự lựa chọn đã được thông tin rất tốt. It means that they were well informed before they make that choice, you know. Tức là trẻ nhỏ được con người ta được cho thông tin rất tốt trước khi ta quyết định. It's a well-informed choice. Of course, it would be much better than a badly informed choice, you know. Now, you should give a lot of examples for this question. All right, some time to think. All right, so Mr. Please start by describing an important decision that you made, please.
So I'm going to talk about an important decision that I made about choosing my high school. Well, about 2 years ago, I had to make a really important decision about choosing my high school to study. It was a hard choice, a tough one. And to really ensure my choice, my decisions, I had to seek the help of my parents and also my teachers in my secondary school. I had to ask for their advice whether it is suitable, whether the school was suitable for me or not. And also, I had to assess my ability. I had to think, I have to consider whether I was capable of entering the school, and if I got into the school, is it possible that I would perform well in my academic results?
Academic performance, you mean?
Yeah, academic performance.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, fortunately, I got admitted to that high school. And the reason why it was really important is that 3 years in high school is a period, a stage for choosing my university and also for choosing my major, which can be really vital uh, when I get employed in my future. So, and also that's the time when I have to learn how to become an adult. So, for me, it was a really important decision that I made about choosing my high school.
I see. So do you think children sometimes have to make important decisions?
Yes, in my opinion, I think that children do sometimes have to make important decisions. For example, they their parents allow them to make decisions make about making friends. For example, because choosing a friend is not I think choosing a friend is not an easy thing to do because you have to choose whether this friend is good for you or not, or they just play with you for to gain benefits.
Play, you
So,
mean? Play, is it the right word to use? Or they just basically hang out with you for their benefits?
yeah,
Không nha,
and
cái này là cái điểm điểm sai phổ biến luôn á. Use the word hang out with. Or they just associate. Let's use the word associate with someone. Họ chỉ quan hệ với mình giống như là để có lợi ích thôi chẳng hạn. Chứ đừng có dùng từ chơi giống như play nha. Play là chơi game á, chơi trò chơi mới dùng chữ play. You say you play a game with someone, but you can say to hang out with someone, or if you want to make it more formal, if someone would like to associate with you for their own benefits, that's the right way to say, Cẩn thận, play với hang out nha. Play là chơi trò chơi với người khác. Okay, would you like to say that again?
yeah. So I think that children do have to make important decisions sometimes. For example, when they choose to who to make friends with, because in many cases there are many children who just associate with them to gain benefits,
Mhm.
to uh, play new with them or without having to buy it, or just to going out for a meal with you, but never gonna pay you back. So I think making friends can be considered a really important decision for children. Moreover, when children when children decide to attend uh, some kind of summer camp or to attend extracurriculum subjects in their school, it is it can also be a really important decision because it's a time when they start to they start to getting older, and there are many factors that can affect their decisions, and they always have to remind themselves whether they want it or not, or
Mhm.
is it suitable for them or not. So I think these kind of questions
It
can
depends on the cases, like what kind of society you're talking about, right? If you talk about like Asian societies, when children are often very sheltered, the word sheltered, right?
yeah.
They're often very sheltered, được gọi là được ấm trong nhà, mà bảo bọc quá mức. It's called sheltered. If you're too sheltered, then you're not allowed to make important decisions. You will always be a child, doesn't matter what age you are. There are some children who are like actually 30, 40 years old. Bị ấm trong nhà không cho quyết định gì quan trọng thì cuối cùng chỉ thành trẻ con thôi. Không cần biết là bạn nhiêu tuổi đó thiệt. All right, so number 2 question for part 3. What important decisions do teenagers need to make after graduation then?
Well, after graduation, I think teenagers have a lot of important decisions to make. For example, the first one is that they have to choose whether to study further or to get a job immediately. There are many students who choose to study more, to go into university and choose a major that they are uh, excellent at, and then just get some degrees in order to facilitate their future career. But also, there are many teenagers who do not want to study anymore, and they prefer to enter the workforce. And I think that these decisions can really affect teenagers' future life. Also, besides that, teenagers do also make important decisions to when they want to study abroad, they have to choose which country they want. And also they have to understand about that country's cultures and the benefits or the drawbacks that it brings about for them.
I see. Now, so who can children turn to for help when making a decision then?
I think children can turn to older people for help when they make a decision. Mm, they can be their parents or their teachers or their siblings. But I think when making a decision, the most popular, the most the most desired that children can turn to for help is their parents, because they are closely connected, and parents many parents spend a lot of time with their children to understand what's going on in their minds, to understand their needs, and to understand what is good for them. So turning to parents for help can be a really good choice for many children. However, there are many cases when children rely more on their teachers,
Rely more.
rely more on their teachers or instructors, because it is possible that their parents do not have much time for them. So teachers are the people who talk to them the most, who they confide in the most. So I think in general, children can turn to older people for help when making a decision.
Okay, good enough. Now, do you think advertisements can influence do you think advertisement can influence our decisions when shopping?
Definitely, I think that it can influence our decisions when shopping greatly, as the advertisements appear a lot, and they have and the operators, the managers have some gimmicks to make the consumers remember their products. And when the advertisements are played too much in many places, they can the images can easily stick to the consumer's head. And when we go shopping somewhere, it's easy for us to think about those images right away, immediately.
Hmm, I
And
see. Anything else?
so, yeah, I think it can greatly influence our decisions when we go shopping.
So do you think the influence of advertising, do you think the influence of advertising is good in general? Good for whom, you know?
Well, I think the influence of advertising is good and also not good at the same time. For example, uh, in many cases, advertising can be really beneficial to both the sellers and the consumers. Through advertising, uh, the managers, the companies can easily sell goods, can easily inform the buyers about the new products or about the possible benefits of their products that they are introducing. And this can help increase the sales of the goods and also help the consumers to get access to many of the products. But however, the influence of advertising can be really terrible, really bad.
It can be quite detrimental, you know? It can be
Yeah.
quite detrimental if people abuse it. And of course, they will abuse it for sure, for profit. You cannot stop capitalism because they will try to even make even more profit and more profit and this more profits they will not stop, you know. Không thể nào ngừng chủ nghĩa tư bản được đâu. Nó tham lam lắm. You cannot stop capitalism that easily. You know, they're very greedy people, very greedy. They will try to use advertising to influence people in their way to make you so poor and buy a lot of objects or items that you will never need, and then create lots of trash and lots of pollution while they themselves will become super rich. That's what happened, you know. Now, so how do people think? How do people usually make an important decision then?
I think the most common way for people when they make an important decision is that they ask for advice from people that they trust or from people who are already have experience in that field. For example, when you choose to buy something or choose to study some major in or choose a job, you always have to seek advice from your parents or sometimes your and even your friends and also the former workers that have worked in the company. And I think those advice can be really useful when they make an important decision. Moreover, when people usually do research about the matter that they are going to make an important decision about. For example, choose to when they choose a university to study, they usually have to go on the website and read all the comments or read all the comments of the students there and also of many professionals who have done research about the school, and then also in the part of themselves they also have to assess the benefits or the drawbacks on their own, whether it is good for them, whether it is appropriate for them or not.
Hmm. Interesting. Now, that's number 99. Very good. Okay, so let's do 98. I think it would apply to you greatly. Describe an interesting job that you want to have in the future. It would apply to you greatly, I think. It would be, I mean, yeah. You should say what it is, how you can find this job, what skills it requires, and explain why it's an interesting job. It can be interesting because maybe it gives you like opportunities that people normally wouldn't have, like an opportunities to meet interesting people. Like for example, if you work as someone in the show business, show business, then you probably will meet a lot of exciting, interesting people, It can be an interesting job to think about, but very stressful. Remember that. It could be very stressful as well. And like, for example, if you work on, let's say, a boat or a ship, if you work on like a ship, probably you'll be able to travel a lot of places around the world. That is interesting, isn't it? But then there's a lot of drawback too. Think about that. And then what skills it requires. Think about that as well. Okay, part 3. What are the most popular jobs for young people in your country? Are you aware of this one? Are you aware of the popular jobs for young people in Vietnam, Miss Thư? Or do you need me to give you some examples?
Yeah, I want some examples.
Okay, think about AI, artificial intelligence these days. So of course, the most popular jobs would probably revolve around AI, So it revolves around artificial intelligence. Like for example, developers, những nhà phát triển phần mềm, developers. You can talk about jobs with artificial intelligence like app testing or app tester, người kiểm tra mức độ tin cậy, kiểm tra cái app như thế nào. Have you ever heard about UI and UX? Ever heard about this term UI and UX? It's called user interface and user experience. There are people who will check the apps and they will try to use the apps and test the apps for that. And they will check for user interface. Is it easy to use? Will the people like that user interface? And how about the whole experience? Is it good and helpful for people to use this app or not? Nó giống như là cái nghề mà để kiểm tra cái giao diện của một cái phần mềm hay là một cái app nào đó, kiểm tra cái trải nghiệm người dùng của một cái app nào đó, something like that. Those are hot jobs. IT job are like with UI and UX, something like that. User interface and user experience. Think also about I can't think very clearly sometimes, but being educators is actually still hard among people in this country because people think that teaching is easy, but not that it's not never easy. If you have taught before, you understand that it's never easy, right? Thật sự con người ở phía Việt Nam vẫn nghĩ là chuyện dạy học là dễ, nhưng mà không hề dễ chút nào đâu. Try to do it and you will see it's not that easy. Okay. And think also about jobs related to sales, sale bất động sản, like sales of being a sales of real estate sales, like for example, real estate sales, làm sale về bất động sản, real estate sales. Of course, those jobs, they pay by commission, tiền hoa hồng. They pay by commission. It means that the more houses or apartments that you manage to rent out to people or to sell, the more money you get. Càng cho thuê được và càng bán được nhiều nhà thì là càng được nhiều hoa hồng thôi. Like for example, you get 1%. most of the time you get 1% for selling a property. 1% tiền hoa hồng cho một bất động sản là nhiều lắm đó nha. Like for example, if I sell my house for 4 billion Việt Nam đồng, the salesman or woman will get 40 million, you know. Ví dụ nhà thầy bán 4 tỷ đi, thì cái người sales được 40 triệu một lần bán thôi. But that's not easy at all, you know. Sometimes the whole month you cannot manage to sell one property. Nhiều khi cả tháng không bán được đó nha, phải không đâu. It's not that easy because the competition is very fierce. The competition is fierce. Cạnh tranh khiếp đảm lắm luôn á. Cạnh tranh rất khiếp. Of course, the people think that real estate agents, being a real estate agent, gọi là cái người nhân viên làm bất động sản. Actually, people think that this job earns so well. That's why the competition is very fierce. Think also about other hot jobs like with investment, you know, job with investment, like for example, data analysis. Job with data analysis. You can be a data analyst, người phân tích dữ liệu. Marketer, người phân tích thị trường. These are popular jobs for young people in the country. And also think about jobs with AI. Of course, this is very hot. These days, some more jobs popped up, like for example, you know, PT, right? Personal trainer. Personal trainer in gyms. Những người mà huấn luyện viên trong phòng gym á, cũng hot lắm nha, phải không đâu? It's actually quite hot of a job because there are more and more people who wants to have a better body, you know, but they are lazy and they need people to push them to hit the gym more often. Thật sự con người ta luôn luôn cần bị push, cần luôn luôn để mà người ta ép con người ta đi gym chẳng hạn. So that's why personal trainers are in demand. So they are very in demand jobs. Think also about these days, a lot of people are very stressed out, you know, they need psychologists. Bác sĩ tâm lý. And also think about the fact that Vietnam, a lot of people, they believe in some form of divinatory science, divination. Rất là nhiều người Việt Nam tin vào những cái loại hình mà giống như là thần thánh á, các loại thần thánh, divinations. So for example, if you become an astrologer like I do, người nghiên cứu về chiêm tinh, if you become an astrologer like I do, you can earn quite well. Or if you, let's say, jobs that help people feel better, you know, like for example, I can think of some weird, like professional cuddler. 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 Professional cuddlers, cái người mà chuyên môn để ôm ấp người khác để cho làm người ta cảm thấy tốt hơn, nhưng mà là chuyên nghiệp nha. So of course, it's professional cuddlers is actually an odd job, những công việc lạ lùng in America, but it's in demand right now because there's so many people suffering from mental issues, you know. Giờ cái số lượng người mà bị vấn đề về tâm thần, tinh thần các thứ nhiều lắm nha, họ rất cần những cú ôm nha. People need professional cuddlers a lot, you know. So if you are serious about that, you can try, of course. Search for this term, professional cuddlers, and you will know. And also search for astrologer too. Now, think about what's the difference between high income and low income jobs in your country. Có những sự khác biệt nào giữa cái thu nhập, công việc thu nhập thấp và công việc thu nhập cao đất nước bạn không? Of course, think about the requirements. Like, what do they require? What kind of academic credentials do they require? Nó yêu cầu bằng cấp Các thứ như thế nào? Like, do they require how many years of experience? And also think about any special skills, những kỹ năng đặc biệt nào không? High income jobs are often very, very stressful, you know. But I'm not saying that low income jobs are not stressful, okay? Of course, high income jobs can be super stressful, but think about the fact that the more the competition, the less the pay. Just remember that. Nó càng cạnh tranh nhiều bao nhiêu thì cái lương nó pay nó càng thấp hơn bấy nhiêu. Just remember this rule, okay? When you choose a job, okay? Mister, it will save your professional life. Like for example, I'm an online teacher. Yes, teaching. There's a lot of teachers around. So actually, are you still listening?
Yeah.
Hello? Because
Yes.
my net is, I don't know, something going on wrong with my net, I think.
Yeah.
That's why my program just like, reloading and things like that. Okay. But basically, I have a lot of competition, yes. But because I'm teaching in a different way compared to the other people. So that's why I'm not directly competing with anybody, okay? So that's why my income is actually okay. But also think about the fact that I do a lot of, I have a niche market. Thị trường ngách đó, em biết cái chữ thị trường ngách không? I have a niche market. It means that I can do a lot of things that people cannot. Tôi có thể, ví dụ như là tôi có thị trường ngách là tôi có thể làm được rất nhiều thứ mà nhiều người không làm nổi. Like for example, I can teach science as well. I can teach astrology as well. I can teach SAT. I can do biology, chemistry, physics, math as well. Thầy dạy được 4 môn science luôn mà. And also I can teach how to play the piano as well. So I have a lot of niche markets. Mình có rất là nhiều cái thị trường ngách luôn á. So that's why I'm considered to have a high income. Yes, I do. How about low income jobs? Think about the fact that if you follow the trend, if you follow the crowd, there will be so many people waiting in line to apply for those jobs. So your income would probably be very low, you know. Like you have to work so much and run deadlines for just how many? 8 million, 7 million Vietnam đồng per month. 7-8 triệu một tháng lương văn phòng. Cái deadline chết luôn. Well, think about that. Don't just think that low income jobs mean you don't have a degree, okay? That was 20, 30 years ago. 20 đến 30 năm trước là cái chuyện là low income job là những người không có bằng cấp. Nhưng mà bây giờ nó khác rồi nha. Now it's different now. Even if you have a degree, you can still have a very low income job or even unemployed, you know. Nhiều cái giờ có bằng vẫn thất nghiệp. Vẫn có công việc rất là thu nhập rất thấp nha, phải không đâu? So my advice for people is that try to do things differently. Try to be original, phải là nguyên gốc, đừng có mà bắt chước người khác. You have to understand some rules, you know. The more the competition, the less the pay. Cạnh tranh càng nhiều thì cái lương càng thấp, đơn giản như thôi. And also think about the demand for high income jobs, actually the number of positions. The number of positions available, cái số lượng mà vị trí công việc đó mà nó sẵn có nó không có nhiều nha. Of course, if it's high income, there won't be many positions available for that job. And of course, the competition is very fierce. Và đương nhiên là cạnh tranh sẽ rất khiếp. And also think about the fact that you won't be able to stick to the same job if it's so high income for so long, you know. Một công việc mà thu nhập cao như vậy, nếu mình không chịu học, mình không có nâng cấp bản thân thì sẽ không thể nào ở lại trong công việc đó hoài được đâu nha. You cannot stay in the same job if you don't study, if you don't learn new things, if you don't try to improve yourself. to remain relevant in the job market. To remain relevant in the job market means you still employable. Có nghĩa là mình vẫn có thể được thuê mướn do là có cái kỹ năng phù hợp với công việc đó. Chứ nếu mà mình tục lại là chết. If you are unemployable because you don't study, you don't try to improve yourself, you will lose that job, you know? Anyway, when is the right time for young people to start making serious plans for their future careers? Khi nào là thời điểm hợp lý để người trẻ bắt đầu lên kế hoạch rất nghiêm túc cho nghề nghiệp tương lai của họ? Wow, you should think about this one. Especially at your age right now, I think it's time to make a serious plan because you don't have much time left until your college years, you know, and you have to choose now, I think. Well, I think probably about 12 to 13 years old, people should think about what they will do in the future, you know, 13, 14 tuổi, 12, 13 tuổi là đủ thời gian để mà suy nghĩ xem trong tương lai sẽ làm gì rồi, I think. That's what I think. All right, and why do I think that way? I think you know how to answer this question. Now, so which jobs have the highest salary? Oh, công việc nào có lương cao nhất? I don't know, but I can tell you the job that have zero salary and extremely stressful, that is to be parents. You know, làm cha mẹ là không có lương lương mà cực kỳ căng thẳng. Well, I'm just telling you. Anyway, highest salary. I'm not so sure, but you can be creative with this one, okay? Cái bài này là có thể là sáng tạo suy nghĩ thử xem công việc nào highest salary. Okay. Think about if you own a business. If you own a business and your business is doing well, if your business is doing so well, you will be able to earn a lot of money. So your salary is very high. Like for example, if you own a company and your company is growing so well, your salary could be 200 million or up to 1 billion per month. Nếu mà doanh nghiệp em làm ăn rất ổn đi thì có thể lương em lên đến 200 triệu, 1 tỷ đồng một tháng cũng có đó nha, phải không đâu. But of course, the competition is fierce in the market, so your company will not be able to be to do so well like that for a long time, you know. Well, I think as long as you are really really good in your fields, really good in your field, miễn sao em giỏi, rất rất là giỏi trong cái ngành của em, if you're really good in your field, you would probably earn very high salary, I think. That's what I think. Okay. Now, so what jobs pay low wages but require high level of skills? Những công việc nào trả lương rất là thấp nhưng mà là đòi hỏi mức độ kỹ năng rất cao? Well, these questions are getting tough, you know. Think about doctors, medical professionals, you know. Trời ơi, ngành y, cái ngành mà bị đòi hỏi kỹ năng cao, rất cao, trách nhiệm cực kỳ mà lại lương rất rất thấp luôn ở Việt Nam luôn á. Nghĩ sao người ta nói là một ca mổ trả lương bằng một tô phở? What the hell? Like in Vietnam, I think health professionals are paid very, very low. If you work in public hospital, for example, you are paid extremely low. Like one operation, you only paid enough to eat like a bowl of noodle. It's like, what is going on? You know? And people have been complaining a lot about wages in public hospitals. I can think about that. And think about jobs in public schools, you know. Trường công thì sao? Of course, teachers in public schools are basically paid very, very low, you know. And of course, they have to face constant testing and constant supervision by their superior. Phải liên tục bị thanh tra bởi những người mà cấp trên nha, phải không đâu? There's constant supervision by their superiors, and that is crazy, you know. And think about also, I think those two are the main ones people always complain about. Thiệt luôn á, làm giáo viên nghèo phải không đâu? Với lại là làm bác sĩ trường công nghèo, ở chợ bệnh viện công nghèo dã man. Well, think also about being a nurse is even worse. Điều dưỡng y tá còn dã man hơn nha. Well, now, so number 6. Do you think it's important for secondary schools to offer career advice to students? Anh chị có nghĩ rằng những trường cấp 2 nên cho cái lời khuyên nghề nghiệp, giống như là định hướng nghề nghiệp cho học sinh, sinh viên không? Well, I think you know how to do this one. All right, some time to think now. Okay. Mr. Please describe an interesting job that you would like to have in the future.
So I'm going to talk about a job that I really want to have in the future, which is becoming a psychologist. Although in Vietnam this occupation is not as widely known as in other countries, I still have a strong desire to study and to become a psychologist. And I think to do this job, it requires me to be really patient, sympathetic, and also be sensitive in the words that the words that I give to my patients. And the reason why I think this job is interesting is that it not only helps people to it not only helps people to be happier and to improve their mental health, but it also helps me a sense of peacefulness in my mind because I am able to
You mean
help
a
people.
sense of peace?
Yes, a sense
A
of peace.
sense of peace, right?
Yeah.
In your mind, I see.
And also, personally, I have always been really fascinated by many stories and experiences and the situations that people go through throughout their life. And I think listening to those stories can is a really interesting, amazing part of my job of being a psychologist because it gives me insights into the way people live and many cases that can really apply to my daily life. And if I can give solutions to those people, it it stands a chance that I can help myself as well. So I think this job, being a psychologist, is a really interesting job that I want to have in the future.
I see. Right. So, what are the most popular jobs for young people in your country then?
Currently, I think that uh, young people in my country they would probably are in favor of jobs that are jobs that are associated with AI. For example, they can jobs such as programmers, editors, coders, or web developers are
Very good.
yeah, or web developers are in high demand because these kind of jobs require a diverse set of skills, but they also offer a really desirable salary.
Desirable salary. That's a nice way to say. a very desirable salary. It means that everyone wants to have that kind of salary, right?
Yeah.
Well, I can give you one more. Like there's something called competitive salary. This is a term that people use a lot in job description, you know. Nó có một cái term mà trong cái sự mô tả công việc người ta hay dùng, đó chính là lương cạnh tranh á, competitive salary, you know. It means that the salary is actually on par with the market price, you know. Cái lương đó nó sẽ tương ứng với lại cái lương trên thị trường luôn, chứ nó không thấp hơn hay không cao hơn. It's actually not higher, not lower than a market price, you know. That's what is called competitive salary. But what you're talking about is desirable salary is different, of course. People would want to have a higher, much higher than the competitive salary, of course, right? Cái lương mà người ta mong muốn thì đương nhiên phải cao hơn cái lương mà cạnh tranh trong cái job description nó nêu chẳng hạn, something like that. All right, anything else?
Well, I think there is also another popular job for young people in my country, which is a content creator.
Content
Nowadays,
creator, right?
yeah. Nowadays,
Content creator. Người sáng tạo nội dung, content creator. Yes.
nowadays with the growth of internet and a lot of social platforms, many young people are able to create their own YouTube channel or do live stream to sell their products. And this way of earning money has been really popular among young people nowadays because they do not have to compete too much with other people, but they just need themselves to be creative to create the content that are special, that are unique compared to the other ones.
So what's the difference between high income and low income jobs in Vietnam, in your country? I mean,
Well, I think most
the most striking differences.
yeah
Những cái
the
sự khác
most
biệt mà nó giống như là đập vào mắt mình. The most striking difference, I think.
Is the most striking difference between high income and low income jobs in my country is their requirements or the academic credentials that they require when they employ someone. For example, in many high income jobs, they require a lot of expertise. They require a lot of high credentials that low income jobs may not require. And also, they may have requirements about the years of experience when they choose a employee. And also, I think another difference between these two jobs is that high income jobs have a certain social status, and people who have these high income jobs tend to have a better respect from other people than people who have low income jobs. For example, many low income jobs can lead to many people doubting your abilities, and sometimes your opinions might not carry much weight. But on the other hand, high income jobs, they often have a higher respect from other people, as it shows that they
Higher
can
respect,
earn a
yeah.
lot of money. So it shows that they can earn a lot of money, and that's a really important factor that how people assess someone else.
Well, sadly, right?
Yeah.
So if I lose my job and earn no money, all the respect is gone, isn't it? Well, life is very cruel, you know. Sometimes I do think that whatever people think of me, I don't care. Really. I mean, my life's my life. If people think that I earn well, they respect me, okay, fine. But if I lose my job, probably all the respect will be gone, yeah. Trust me. Anyway, so when is the right time for young people to start making serious plans for their future careers?
From my perspective, I believe that young people should start making serious career plans when they start their high school years, when they are about 16 or 17. At this age, individuals are old enough to be taken seriously, and they are old enough to understand what they want and to understand about the desires. But also, they are, if they make mistakes, there is still time for them to um, reconsider it and restart all over.
Mhm.
And uh, I think also making a decision at this age can help you to improve your uh, critical thinking, to help you to analyze whether something is good for you or not. It really helps you when you have to face something uh, much more terrible in your future. So I think the right time for young people to start making serious plans for their careers is when they are around 16 or 17 years old.
Hmm. 16 to 17 years old, I see. Now, so which jobs have a higher salary then? It's a hard question, isn't it? A tough nut to crack.
Well, in my opinion, I think that the job that has the highest salaries is business. Mm, I think people who have their own business, who run their own business, have a high possibility of earning uh, much higher than other people because they are independent, and uh, they can decide on their own about the deals or about the contracts that they make with other people. Uh, but also I think that mm, in but also I think that the high salaries uh, can be but I think that the high salaries can
Nothing
be
good. Actually, it comes with a lot of stress and you have to sacrifice a lot, you know? So there are sacrifices that have to be made. Phải có những cái sự hy sinh, người ta phải hy sinh. There are sacrifices that have to be made in order to have one of the highest salary. Like you know Elon Musk, right? He
yeah.
is a billionaire and he works insane hours. He worked insane hours, like 18 hours, I think, or even more per day. No breaks, no vacations. And think about top, like, how can I say, top artists. Like, for example, you know, Taylor Swift, she has to work so hard before her shows. So hard. She spent like almost the whole day in the gym practicing like non-stop like that, you know? So it's like they have to sacrifice a lot of their time, a lot of their friends. It's like they say that if you have a higher salary, you are considered as a very successful person, right? But be ready, be ready to be misunderstood by people because you won't have the time to hang out with them anymore. Không còn thời gian đâu mà đi chơi với họ nữa. And people will misunderstand you. They think that you don't like them anymore, you know. But in fact, you're focusing on your career. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they say that if you are really successful, you'll be lonely. Trust me. Càng thành công thì càng gọi là không có ai chia sẻ. Nó lonely lắm luôn á. Oh, it's gonna be lonely. Anyway, so which jobs pay low wages but require a high level of skills?
Well, I think that educators, teachers are the jobs that require a high level of skills, but they are paid low wages. Mm, In many public schools, teachers are often underpaid despite their important roles in shaping the future workforce. But in order to become a teacher, they have to possess a specialized
You mean possess?
po- possess, yeah,
People have to possess. What do they
possess.
possess? Yes.
Yeah, they have to possess specialized skills in education, and they have to, and some of them even have to have a lot of degrees in order to have a place, have a position in teaching. But their wages do not always reflect the level of skills and dedication that they required for their profession. And moreover, another job that can be another example of this is doctors and public hospitals,
And nurses in
especially
public
nurses.
hospital too, you know.
Yeah, especially nurses. This job requires a great deal of knowledge about about medicine,
Medicine, about medicine.
about medicine,
Mhm.
and they have to spend a lot of time taking care of other people, and uh, and also they have to be really sensitive in um, diagnosing the diseases to the patients so that they will not get upset or um, they will not get upset or annoyed. However, the doctors and nurses in public hospitals are not paid well, but are not paid well enough because people believe that because the public healthcare is because the public healthcare should be taken care well of, and many people they cannot afford the cost of some treatment. So it is in many places it is common that the the cost of visiting a hospital is not high for people who cannot afford. So I think as a result, many doctors and nurses in many public hospitals are not paid well, despite their sacrifice and their dedication.
I see. Now, so do you think it's important for secondary schools to offer career advice to students? You know, there are career advice, career counseling everywhere. You know, every year I see those things, but people still making terrible choices, you know. counseling. People still make terrible choices and then they regret it later. Of course, those things still happen, but at least there's something, you know? So what do you think?
Yes, I believe that it is crucial for secondary schools to offer careers advice to students. I think that secondary schools is a is a is an important stage in a student's life, as many as they have already been able to make up their own mind about a few important things. And I think providing advice about careers during this period can help students to understand the importance of career planning and also gives them an insight into the jobs, the available jobs in the market, or which jobs are the most suitable for them. But although I think not all students will immediately understand this advice, but somehow it sets the foundation for future decisions.
Mm-hmm. I see. Hmm. It's like a set a stage for future decisions. At least people have something to base on, and then they will carry on making like choices, future choices, right?
Yeah.
But people have to understand something that these days the world is changing so quickly, you know. So people have to understand that their career might not consist of only one job, you know. People have to understand that there are many different jobs that people can do during their whole career. And I think it's the mindset of people that needs to change, you know. So like for example, you might be doing two or three different jobs in the future. Because these days, like for example, I can take on like so many different tasks. I don't do just one jobs, you know, in order to support myself. So what I'm telling you now is that people have some ideas, have some options, and they can decide to pursue them all, you know. They can or just pursue two or three of them, you know. They don't have to only choose one, you know. Just have some ideas. So in case one job fails, you can quickly switch to another one without any problem, without much problem, you know. Like career counseling, you can actually go into a study of fields that you can easily change or move to different kind of jobs. Like for example, biotechnology, you know, biotechnology. If you study that, you can quickly change to doing research about biotechnology, or if you don't want it anymore, you can work for companies, for a pharmaceutical company, for example. Or if you don't want it anymore, you can even go to teaching, you know, no problem. Because the field of study should be broad enough so that people can switch to different options of different jobs if they want to, you know. So that's what I'm telling. Any question? Cái ngành học mình chọn học á, nó phải đủ rộng nha, để mà mình lỡ đâu có chuyện gì đó mình có thể chuyển nghề rất là dễ dàng chẳng hạn, chứ đừng có chuyên sâu quá. Chuyên sâu quá lúc đó em chuyển nghề không nổi đâu, phải học lại hoàn toàn những thứ khác. All right, I think it's time now. Let's stop.